boys and girls, it's Mrs. Ward. I would like to share a book with you today. And this book is called The Easter Egg Farm. And the author is Mary Jane Auch. And it was written and illustrated by her. So she's the author and the illustrator. So this is the title page, The Easter Egg Farm. I want you to think while I'm reading the book, is this fiction or nonfiction? So what is the genre? And also the theme of the book and what person it's told in, and also what the lesson of the story is. So here we go. Pauline lived in Mrs. Pennyworth's hen house with 4 other hens. Each day, Mrs. Pennyworth collected the eggs. "Only 4 eggs again today," she said. "Someone isn't doing her job. Are you all trying?" Then the hens clucked. "Well, try harder. I want 5 eggs tomorrow. Concentrate." Pauline was embarrassed. She was the one not laying an egg. Every time she tried, the other hens all began to squabble. Pauline couldn't concentrate in all the confusion. "Pauline is lazy," one hen clucked. "I'm not lazy," Pauline said. "I'm just different." She turned her back on the others and concentrated very hard. Finally, a wonderful thing happened. Pauline stepped back to look at the egg in her nest. It wasn't like the other eggs, but Pauline thought it was beautiful. "Get a load of this," another hen cackled. "Pauline just laid the world's ugliest egg." "It's not ugly," Pauline said. "It's just different." But Pauline began to feel ashamed of her egg, and she nudged it under the straw with her beak. The harder Pauline tried to lay a normal egg, the stranger her eggs got. She hid each one of them, but not before the other hens had seen them and made fun of her. Now look at all of the eggs that Pauline is making. Stop and think if you think that something is going to happen with the eggs and what might happen next. That would be your prediction. When Pauline couldn't stand the teasing any longer, she made herself a nest outdoors. She stared at the sky, concentrating very hard. This time, her egg came out blue with clouds. But before Pauline could hide the egg, someone saw it, Mrs. Pennyworth. "Pauline, what a lovely egg," she said, holding it up in the sunshine. "This is too unusual to crack open for my breakfast. I will put it in my windowsill where everyone can enjoy it." The next day, Pauline laid an egg that was even more unusual. Mrs. Pennyworth was delighted. "Can you make more eggs like this?" Then Mrs. Pennyworth noticed a ladybug on the blade of grass right in front of her. "Hey, I get it. The egg comes out looking like whatever you see. Is that right?" Pauline blinked. She wasn't quite sure how it worked herself. "This is fantastic," Mrs. Pennyworth said. "Come into the house with me. We'll see what kind of eggs you can lay there." So you can see the 2 eggs that she laid. Pauline loved being inside. There were lots of pretty things to look at. In her new surroundings, Pauline became quite creative. Soon, her unusual eggs lined the windowsills of Mrs. Pennyworth's house. One day, a lady appeared in the window. "Are these lovely Easter eggs for sale? I need one for every child in town. There would be for our annual Easter egg hunt." "No problem. We can lay that many eggs. Can't we, Pauline?" "We," thought Pauline. She'd never seen Mrs. Pennyworth lay an egg, so she knew it was up to her. Laying eggs for an Easter egg hunt would be an honor. She clucked happily. "Come back for your eggs the night before Easter," said Mrs. Pennyworth. Now I'd like you to predict, do you think that Pauline's going to be able to be up for the challenge? Or do you think Mrs. Pennyworth has promised too much? Pauline was excited. She started laying 2 eggs a day, then 3, then 4. Mrs. Pennyworth began taking Pauline on field trips for inspiration. The first week, they went to an art museum. I know you all recognize this painting, the Mona Lisa. And next door to it is the Vincent van Gogh painting. You can tell by the brush strokes. The second week, they all went to the ballet. Pauline was so thrilled by the music and dancing, she laid more eggs than ever when she got home. Finally, it was the day before Easter. The egg lady would be here tonight, said Mrs. Pennyworth. I'd better start packing up the eggs. She lifted the eggs from the windowsill. Uh-oh. What do you think happened? There's a crack in the shell. Mrs. Pennyworth ran over to the other window. Pauline, some of our eggs are hatching. We shouldn't have left them in the sunshine. Soon, baby chicks were popping out all over the sunny side of the house. Stay in there, Mrs. Pennyworth shouted at the unhatched chicks. You're ruining the eggs. But the chicks didn't listen. They just kept hatching and hatching. Mrs. Pennyworth took the broken shells to the table and was frantically trying to glue them together. It's no use. I was never good at craft projects. But then there was a knock at the door. Yoo-hoo, called the egg lady. I'm here for the Easter eggs. Do I have a deal for you, cried Mrs. Pennyworth. How would you like Easter chicks instead? So think about what the lady might say. Do you think she's going to be disappointed, or do you think she's going to be happy? Terrific, the egg lady said as the brightly colored chicks scurried around her. Easter eggs were good, but chicks were even better. Mrs. Pennyworth helped the egg lady gather the chicks, but as fast as they were popping into the baskets, the chicks jumped out again. Mrs. Pennyworth heard a clucking noise and looked up. And I'm going to show you the next picture and then I'll read. Pauline was fluffed up to twice her normal size. She spread her wings like an umbrella, protecting the chicks who raced toward her. Oh, Pauline, said Mrs. Pennyworth, of course we can't give away your chicks. They're your babies. But what about the Easter egg hunt? The egg lady asked. The eggs on the shady side of the house didn't hatch, Mrs. Pennyworth said. You can take those. So there's that picture again. Pauline kept all of her babies. She loved being a mother. Every day, she took her chicks for a walk, showing them the beautiful things about the farm. The chicks' grown-up feathers started to come in. These chicks sure are different, said Mrs. Pennyworth. Pauline clucked proudly. Soon Pauline's daughters were laying their own eggs. They took turns in the nest box laying eggs of every color and design. Children from miles around came to see the unusual eggs and chickens. Mrs. Pennyworth's farm became known as the Easter egg farm. Pauline still lives on the Easter egg farm, but she doesn't lay as many eggs as she used to. Now, whenever she feels an egg coming on, Pauline closes her eyes. She doesn't concentrate on anything. And then she lays a perfectly ordinary, plain white egg, just to be different. I hope you enjoyed that story. So when you think about it, what do you think the theme is? Are you thinking it's okay to be different? I think that might be one of the themes. And how about the genre of the book? Did you guess that it was fiction? We know that fiction books always have characters. Also, it was told from third person, which I know you know that because it used the characters' names and didn't use things like I and me. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I want you to know that we really do miss you so much, and I know that we'll be apart for a little bit longer, but we're hoping that very